Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to implement another Next.js project step by step using Next.js and Tailwind CSS and also TypeScript. And in this project, we will implement again full CRUD functionality, which means create, read, update, and delete. And also we will implement search functionality in this project, and we will see Debounced searching and how powerful it is. So in this tutorial, we will see and work with Next.js, with app router, and also Tailwind CSS, TypeScript, Axios, Moment.js, React Hook Form, React Hot Toast, and also React Icons. Let's see the demo of the final product of this video and continue. This is the product of this video, and this project is created. Let me show you here using Next.js version 13.4.5. And here on the first page, we have this tickets, and if we click on that tickets, we go to the /tickets list. Here we have list of all of tickets of our website, and here we have a search. For example, we can search for O, and after 2 seconds you can see that the search would be operated, and we have the search param on our URL, and we will back to the list of the search with that character. So if I delete that after 2 seconds, I will go back to the /tickets, and if you press anything after you wait, after stop your typing, 2 seconds after that, the search would be performed. So the performance of this program is not bad. So let's delete all of them and test it again. For example, let's test for new, and after 2 seconds, we can see the search result, and that's so good. Let's delete it and go back to our list. So the search is implemented using Debounced searching, which is too important in your project. Also, I have creating, so let's create a new ticket here. So we can go to the issue ticket to /tickets/create, and here we can choose date and the name, for example, test demo, and passenger assistant is 123321 from YouTube to subscribe, and the price is 1, and that's it. The price is so low to subscribe to my channel. Let's submit and test it. So we have that loading, and you can see that I have a toast notification here. It says ticket created successfully, and I have the test demo here. It's so good. I can see the details using this button, and here you can see that I have all of the details of it here, and I have the edit and delete button here. So we can go to the edit, and we can edit that. For example, let's say test demo of updated and submit. So ticket edited successfully, and we are back to tickets and test demo updated. So good. Let's delete it, and you can see that you have confirmation here. Are you sure you want to delete the ticket with this information? Yes, I delete that. So ticket deleted successfully, and we are back to our list. And also our project is responsible, so we can see that on responsible, everything would be responsible. So good. And if you go to the operations, you can see that I have the edit and delete here. So if I go to here, the edit and the delete would be hidden in the mobile sizes, but we can go here and see them. And that's it. And also on the Navbar, you can see that when we are on the mobile sizes, I have just my icons, and here I have just this icon and I don't have any text. But on this larger screens, I have all of the texts here, and also here I have my labels. So this was just a simple demo, and this is simple, but this is so powerful enough to show your potentials of working with Next.js. Also, all of the codes are uploaded to the my repository of /Ticketier, and it is here. So on previous videos, previous video, we created exactly this project with React, and the codes are here, but we didn't have the search functionality. And this time we implemented it with Next.js and Tailwind CSS and with search functionality. So all of the codes are here, with the back end and also with the React version. So this can be a good tutorial if you want to migrate from React to Next.js. And so you can see the functionality here. For example, in React, we can simply go to the src to, for example, router.tsx. You can see that on React, we used this router, but on Next.js, for achieving exact functionality, we are using a file routing. So you can see that on app, I created a folder of tickets, and there I have delete, create, edit, ID, and a lot of things. So I think this can be a good tutorial for you if you want to be a good professional developer and you want to use Next.js with App Router. So after watching this video, if you liked it, please don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment for me and tell me about your opinion. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you would receive the notification about my new videos. Are you ready? So let's go. Before creating a new Next.js project, I want to have a place for it to be accessible for you and for the future users. So I want to use this GitHub repository, which belongs to the previous Ticketier projects. I created a tutorial for its backend using ASP.NET Core Web API, and also another tutorial using React.js and Tailwind CSS. And this tutorial is independent one, which will be used Next.js and Tailwind CSS. So I want to maintain the code inside of exactly this repository. So I clone this repository using this button, and inside of drive F, I open a new terminal, git clone this address. So it would be cloned, and inside of it, I want to create my new Next.js project. Let's open a new CMD here and use npx create next app at latest. And let's choose a name for our project. For example, I can use a Ticketier front Next.js or any name you want. So npx create next app at latest Ticketier front Next.js. That's it. I want to use TypeScript, yes. For ESLint, yes. For Tailwind CSS, no. I will configure it manually. SRC, no. App Router, yes. Would you like to customize? No. That's it. So we need to wait for the project to be installed and then continue. And it is installed successfully. So good. So let's close this. This is the Ticketier front Next.js project. I will open this using VS Code. And inside of it, let's go here and see the code. So I'm using App Router and TypeScript. So let's check the version of Next.js. So this is 13.4.5 and the React is 18.2.0. So good. Let's start our project using npm run dev, and it will be open on localhost port 3000. So that's it. Let's split our screen into different parts. That's good. So I can see all my codes and my website. So good. So this is it, and this is a raw project. Let's continue. Let's go to the readme.md and delete everything. I want to have some tasks here, so I will copy paste them, and you can copy them from my GitHub repository. And this is it. So this is the label for my README file, Ticketier front and Next.js TypeScript. And then I have some tasks, and you can see that this project is nothing but some simple tasks, and we will do them. This is so good. So let's start. The first thing is I want to clean up my project. Let's do this. So let's go to the app directory, and here inside of global.css, I delete everything. I want to remove this global.css from here. So I create a new folder outside of app. It would be styles, and I will move this global.css to styles. So move, that's good. And then I will delete this page.module.css. I don't need it. And inside of page.tsx, let's delete everything and create a new component. I use RAFCE. So you can use this extension. Let me show you here, ES7 Plus, to create new components. You can see that this will allow you to create new components using RFC or RSC and a lot of other snippets. So I changed the name to home page. Let's move back here. So this is my home page and I don't need this React for now. Let's continue and go to layout.tsx. Here we changed the route of global, so we need to change it to @style/global.css. No, we don't have any error and everything is good. Let's delete this inter and this inter. I don't want them. And for the body, I delete this class name and format document. So good. And also here we have access to metadata in Next.js and we can change the title and description. I simply copy paste the text I want and you can use any text you want. And also you can copy this text from the GitHub repository of this tutorial. This is it. So let's format document. So I changed the title to Ticketier, Dev Empower, and I created a description for it, and you can see it. So good. So this is for the metadata, and then we deleted the extra things, and in page we created this, and we moved global.css here. So I think for the first, let's close everything. I think for the first task, it is good. Let's go here and type an X. So we have done the first task. The next task is install and config Tailwind CSS. Let's do this. Let's open Tailwind CSS. Go to get started, framework guides, and next.js. And from here, the first step is creating project. We have done it. The next is this. Let's copy and open our terminal and Ctrl+C to stop, clear, and paste it. So npm install -d, Tailwind CSS, post CSS, and auto prefixer, and they will be installed as dev dependencies. Let's wait for it to be installed. Good, and then we need to run npx tailwind css init-p. This would create two files for us, tailwind config and post css config. Good. So next thing is we need to use this configuration. So inside of tailwind.config.js or .ts, we need to move this array to the content. So we have tailwind.config.js. Good, and I change this content and I format document. Good. And the next step is adding Tailwind CSS directives to your CSS. So let's copy all of them. We want to use them inside of styles global.css and paste them here. So good. And then start your build process and start using Tailwind CSS, and that's it. So this is done. And now I must have access to Tailwind. Let's go and npm run dev. Let's close this. So if I go to the page, here I use some classes, for example, BG, green of 600, and refresh. Okay, it seems that it's working, and I use a text of white to check. Okay, it seems that we have everything, and that's so good. So Tailwind is installed and configured successfully. Let's go here and tick it as done. This is this task. The next task is creating a Navbar component. Let's do this. So I want to create a new folder named components, and inside of these components I want to create a folder named Navbar, and inside of that a navbar.tsx. That's it. Let's press RFCE and I say this is my navbar. That's good. And for my navbar I want to have some icon, so I simply delete this React. I don't want it, and I want to install new package. So let's go here, stop our terminal, clear npm I react icons to install this package. Good. And again npm run dev. So I want to import some icons from React, icons slash AI. From this package, I want to use AI outline home. Let's copy paste it and have another one. So from MD, I want to have MD airplane ticket. I want to use these two icons in my project. Also, I want to use link of next.js. So let's import link from next link and use it. So after this, let me have a simple comment here. So I use dynamic data for my navbar menu, and it is a better approach. So we will render it dynamically. So let's have a const of menu items equals to an array. Inside this array, I want to have some objects, for example, with ID of 1 and with a label of home. And let's have a route for it, which would be a slash. And also let's have an icon for it. For example, for this, I want to use an AI outline home. And let's copy and paste it here again. So I have first one, and the next one is ID2. The label would be tickets. Its route would be /tickets, and its icon would be this MD airplane. Let's format document. Good. So this is my menu items, and I want to render them. So this is it. This is my navbar. Inside of my navbar, I have a division, and inside of this, I want to have two different divisions. So in first division, I want to have a link, and this link will have an href of a slash, and here we say ticket here. That's it. Okay, so by saving, you can see that it is I'm using Tier. So formatting document, I can use this Shift Alt F, or I can simply press Ctrl S, and it would be formatted automatically. So this was my first division. Let's have another division here, and inside of that, I want to have a menu items dot map. So we map over it, and we receive the items, and for each one I want to have a link. This link must have a key of item.id. You know that this is important in React to use key. And also I want to have an href, and this href would be item.route. That's it. After that, inside this link, I want to have two span. The first one would be item.label, and the next one would be item.icon. That's it. So let's refresh and check the result here. We cannot see it. Why? Because we need to use this navbar. So in order to use it in all of our projects, we have a layout, and inside of layout.tsx, we have the body. So here we can simply, let's use it here. So I have this body, and here I can use my navbar, and you can see that this navbar is imported from @component/navbar/nav. And to keep everything simpler, I will cut this to a main and format. So this is my navbar, and now my navbar is accessible on all of my project because these children would be rendered here. So good. So let's continue. Inside of this navbar, I want to have some different classes. So let's start with the main division. We can use a bg gray of 100 and a flex justify of between, and the line items of center, and a padding of 2. On MD, I want to have a padding of 4, and on LG, I want to have a padding X of 8. Also on LG, I want to have a padding Y of 4, and a text of 2x large would be good. So this is the Tailwind CSS classes I want to use, and that's it. So after that, I have a division. Inside of this, I have a link. That's good. And after that, I have the next division, which is for my menu item, so here for this division, I can simply use flex. That's good. And I can use items of center to align items to center, and I can have a gap of x of 4 here. And then I have this menu items. I have some links. Inside of that, I have to expand. So I want to render them conditionally based on my width of my screen. So here for the first one, which is label, I say on max of MD, you must be hidden. That's it. Let's copy this for the next one. And for the next one, we say that you must be hidden. And let's delete these. So on MD, you need to be hidden. Also, you need to have a text of 3x large. So what we have done here, we simply said that if we are below the MD, this would be shown. This would be shown, the MD of hidden, and upper the MD, this would be shown. So on MD of hidden, it means that because this is a mobile responsive, mobile first design library, Tailwind will handle everything from mobile. So we say that everything, so you would be shown, but on MD you would be hidden. And here on max of MD it is hidden, so it means that after MD it would be shown. Let's check it. Yes, you can see that until MD we see the icons. After MD we see the labels. These classes will do this for us. So let's check them. So I have the main, good, and slash tickets. We'll go to 404. Okay, no problem. Let's refresh, and you see that it is working and it is responsive. So good. So I think the navbar is done. Let's close the navbar and tick it as done and go to the next task. The next task is creating a back button component. So let's do this. Let's go to components folder, create a new back button, and inside of that I create backbutton.tsx. Let's use RAFCE here, and for now let's delete this React. And here first of all, let's see the result in app. So I will go here and put this in H1. Good. So I want to see the back button and check my result. So the back button would be here. So so inside of this back button, I want to receive some props. So I will create a new type or interface for it. So for example, we can create an interface of props, and we say that the destination would be a string, and also this can be optional. So we can simply destructure it here, and we receive this destination, and its type would be props. This is how we can set the type of our properties in React component. And also let's have a default value of a slash so we can handle it more simple. So this is it. And after receiving this, inside of this we can close, we can delete that, and inside of that I want to have a link. This is a next link, and inside of this link I want to have an icon. So let's import our icon. I want to import something from React icons slash BS, and what I want to use a BS arrow left and use it here. That's it. So for this link, you know that we want to have an href, and this href can be the destination which coming from the props. And if it is empty, you can see that it is optional, but we have a default value. So if it wouldn't pass to the component, the default would be a slash. So good, let's format document, and this is it. Now let's have some classes. So for this division, let's have a class name of flex. When we're using link with an icon, with an SVG icon, we need to use this flex here. Else we have some problems. So let's delete this for now to show you. So for my link, I can use class name of BG sky of 800 and a text of white. and a padding x of 4, padding y 1, rounded of LG, and a width of feet to get all of its parents width. So you can see that we have this problem. You can see this is weird, yes. So for its parent, if you use flex, it would be okay. So this is why we are using flex here. So let's check it. We created this back button, and that's it. So for this, we used flex, and then here we used a BG sky, text white, and a padding x of 4, padding y of 1, rounded up LG, and the width of feet. Also for its icon, here we can use the class name of text to x large to be larger. Okay, no, it is better. And if you can see on the down that if I hover on it, it will go to the slash. That's good. So I think this task is good for now. Let's close the back button and let's delete this back button from here. It was just for test. I don't want it here, and I delete it from here. So I think that this task is done. Let's press X, go to the next task. The next task is create breadcrumb component. In this tutorial, I want to use this breadcrumb, so let's do this. Again, let's go to the components, create a breadcrumb or any name you want. I simply use this name, breadcrumb.tsx, and let's use RAFCE to create our new component, and let's use it inside the page to check it, and then we delete it. So I have breadcrumb, which is coming from here. So good. In this component, I want to receive some props, and also I want to use some components. So let's import them first. I will import the link from next link. I want to use the link here, and also I want to have an icon. So from React icons /AI, I want to use AI outline home. That's it. Also, let's have some props. For example, here, from the props, I want to receive an items with an array. And this is a default value for it. So this must be my props. And because I'm using TypeScript, I want to use it here. So I create an interface of props for this component. And here I say I am receiving an items. And this items is array of an object. So you can see that this is a complicated one, but in fact it's too easy. So this is how we can structure a complicated object arrays in our TypeScript. So I say items can be an array of objects, and in these objects we can have a label as a string, and also we can have a route as a string. That's it. So this is the props of this component. So we use it here to define the structure of it, and that's it. So this is my props. Then I have a division, and inside of this division, first I want to have a link. So this link href would be always to a slash, and inside of it I want to use my AI outline home. That's good. So let's refresh. Undefined is not iterable. Okay, no problem for now. So let's here change this to equals. This must be it. Okay, no, we don't have any problem. Now you can see the home. So the first thing is I have a link here, and for it I want to have this. After that, I want to have some items dot map. So I want to map over my items and conditionally, dynamically render them. So for each one, I'm receiving an item and an index. That's it. And for each one, I want to return a new division, and the key of this division would be also index, and I can use a class name of space x2 to have some space between them. And inside this division, first I can have an span with slash, and after that I want to conditionally render the next part. So I say that if index equals to item dot item items dot length -1. Let's use it here. Okay, so if item equals to item dot length -1, it means that this is the last one. So if it is it, you need to render an span and in this span you can simply return the item dot label, else if it is not, you need to render a link. So in this case you render a link, and in this link you can have the href of item dot route, and then you can have item dot label. So let's format it. I know it may seem hard, but in fact it's too easy. So this is it, and in order to test it, let's go and have some data to test it. Okay, so you can see that it yells at us. It says that I need some data. So let's say that your items is this, and here I want to have, let's delete it. So this items is an object, and this object needs to be an array. So here we need to have an array, and inside this array we want to have some objects, and in it I want to have some label and some route. For example, for label we can simply say tickets, this is just test, and for the route we can say slash tickets, that's it. Let's Control Z. Let's Control C, Control V, and have, for example, after ticket, edit, and the route would be, for example, something, and also let's have, for example, 52, and the route is not important for us here. So this is it. Let's format document and refresh. Okay, it says that link is valid. I must either have children or then you set in HTML. Okay, link. Okay, it's it. This must be link of next.js. This is an error. Sure. Wait for it. Okay, now you can see that this is what I want. Good. Now let's work on its style. Now you can see that this is what you want to create. And for the main division, let's have some class name of flex and justify of start to be on the left side. And for the align items, we use center. Let's have gap of x of 2 between them. Also, let's have a BG sky of 800. I love this color in this project. Also, text of white is good, and let's have padding x of 4, padding y of 1, and a rounded of LG. That's it. So this is it, and we have, let's refresh. That's good. So after this, let's have some classes for this. So class name of text of 2x large, good. And this division is getting all of the parents because it is here inside of the main division. And this is not good. So let's cut this breadcrumb and put it inside of another division and check it. Let's delete this, and for this we use flex. Okay, now it is good, and that's it. So we use this breadcrumb in another division with flex. We can simply do this to have the structure. Also, you can use it here, but I think this is a better way for it. So let's continue, and here I have flex, justify start, items of center, gap x of 2, BG sky of 800, text white, padding x of 4, padding y of 1, and rounded of LG. then I have a link. This link would be always here. After that, I have some items, so I use this map and I mapped everything here. So this will go to home, this will go to slash ticket, this go to slash that address we want, and this will go to nothing. This is just a span. So we checked here, and for the last one, we don't render a link. We render a span. This is the way we use it here. So I think for breadcrumb, it's good, and let's close it. And from here, let's delete this breadcrumb. It was just for test, and delete from here and mark it as done. So create breadcrumb component is done. The next task is to create a custom spinner component. So let's do this. Let's have another spinner. So in component, let's create another folder here. So custom spinner, and here custom spinner dot tsx, let's say RAFCE, to create our new component, and I will delete this React, and I will use this in my page to check it live. So custom spinner, this is it. Good. So inside of my custom spinner, I want to have this division. Inside of this division, I want to have one span, and inside of this span, I want to have two different spans. There are a lot of ways to implementing this. I simply use this approach, and you can use anything you want. For example, in this division, for the class name, we can use height of 48 and flex and justify of center and align items of center. That's it. After this, I have another span. For this span, I can use a class name of position relative because I want to use absolute, and also height of 20 and width of 20. This is it. Then I have two different spans. For the first one, I use some class names of BG sky of 600, and the position would be absolute, and your width would be full, and your height would be full, and you have the rounded of full. That's it. And after this, I want to use a blur of LG, which is a Tailwind CSS class. So good. And also I can have an animate with animate of pink. Yeah, that's it. This is it. So beautiful, isn't it? So after this, I have another span, and for it, I again use BG sky of 600 and an inline flex and height of 20 and width of 20 and a rounded of full. So this is it, and then I will use a blur of X large. So this is it. This is my spinner. I want to use this spinner. You can use anything you want, and this is it. So I think this is good, and let's delete this spinner from here and mark this create custom spinner component as done, and that's it. Now we have a lot of other tasks, and we will do it now. The next thing is create general inner title component. So I want to have a component for my inner titles, and it is better idea to make it a component. In previous React Tailwind CSS project of Ticketier, we didn't do this, but here we will do this. Let's do this. So let's go to components, create a new folder here named of general inner title, and inside of that I will use it. For example, I can create a new component general inner title.tsx, and let's use RAFCE to create this new component. And for now, let's see it here. So general inner title imported from this address, That's good. And here, let's delete this. And inside of this, I want to have some props and I want to return them. So instead of this division, we can simply return an h1. And inside of this h1, I simply can return something, and I want to receive this from my props. So I want to receive a title from my props. Let's create an interface for it. So you can use type or interface. So I say interface of props, and I'm receiving a title which is type of string, and that's it. So this is it. I'm saying that I'm receiving a props for my general InnerTitle component, and inside of it, I want to receive a title of with type of string. And here I receive this title, and inside of this h1, I simply render this title. So let's go here. You can see that it is missing in type of this, but required in props. So we said that this is required. So good. So let's pass a title to it. For example, homepage test title, and that's it. Okay, no, it is rendering here, so it is dynamic. So good. So here, let's format document, and for this h1, we can simply use some Tailwind CSS classes like text of 2x large, and on SM, we can use text of 3x large, and I think text x large can be better here. So on SM, yes, it would be 3x large, and before SM we have this. So good. And here we can simply use a font of bold and a margin Y of 8. That's it. So good. So we have a margin for it, and I think for this component it is good and it is working for now. Then we can simply change it if you want. So I think this is done. Let's go here, generate general inner title. Done. Good. The next task is creating a home page. So we have the home page, we just need to develop our home page. So let's do this, and inside of this app we have this page.tsx. This would be rendered as our main row. So this is it. And for now, let's delete this general title. It was just for test, and delete it from here. And here I want to have some classes for the main div, because I want all of my pages to have an beautiful and like each other templates. I want to create a general class for them and use them. So let's do this, and I want to create a new class. For example, let's use it here and then create it. For example, page general class. This is it, page general class. I want to use this, so let's copy this and create this inside of styles global.css. When we are using Tailwind CSS, we can simply use different layers. So I say for layer of components, I want to have this class. And inside of this, you can use any class you want, and also you can use Tailwind CSS classes again. So using apply, you can use Tailwind CSS classes. So let's use a BG of white and a margin of 2, padding of 2, and on MD your margin would be 4. Also on MD your padding would be 4. On LG your margin X would be 8, and on LG your margin top would be 4, and also on LG your padding X would be 8, and also on LG your padding Y would be 4, and also you must have a rounded of MD. This is it. So Control S, wait for it and refresh. Okay, it says that LXPX8, so M2P2, MD, M4, MD, P4, on LG margin X of 8, on LG margin top of 4, on this Must be LG, not LX. So on LG padding X of 8, on LG padding Y of 4, and the rounded of MG. Let's refresh. So this is it, and this is my home page. So this is my page general class, and I can simply use it. And I think it is good. Let's change it to red of 400 to see it better. Not bad. BG of white. But you know what? Let's go to the layout and change the layout. So inside of this body, for my body, I want to have a BG gray of 100 for it. That's good. And a minimum height of my viewport, which is a screen. So this would be my body, and inside of my body, I use this class for my different pages. That's so good. So after this class, I can also have another things. For example, I can use a flex with flex of column and justify content. Center, and for align items, again, I use center. I want to have a gap of y of 8 with my flex. And also on SM, I want to change this. So I say gap of y of 16, so it would be responsive. And inside of it, I will delete this h1. I want to have a division with class name of margin top of 16. And inside of that, I want to have an h1. And inside of it, I want to have a welcome to Ticketier text. So for this h1, I want to have some class names. For example, relative. You know that when we have position of absolute, we need a relative parent. So let's have a text of 2x large, and on SM the text of 4x large for it. But I think 3 and x large is better for them. So this is it, and let's have a font of bold for it. Good. So this is it. And inside of it, after this welcome to Ticketier, I want to have another division. So inside this division, I use some class name of absolute instead of 0 for top, bottom, left, and right, and a width of full, a height of 8, and SM, the height would be 16, and a rounded of full. For this, we can't see it yet, but if you use a BG green of, let's say, 500, you can see it. This is it. This is what I want to work on it. So instead of BG green 500, let's make it more beautiful. So I can use a BG of gradient to top. That's it. So I start from purple of 500 to blue 300. So this is for the color. This is it. And also after it, let's have a blur of MD for it. Okay, so better. And also let's have an opacity of 40 for it. So this is what I want, and now you can see it. Refresh. Not bad. You can change it to anything you want. For example, on SM, your height can be, let's say, 12. Yeah, no, it's better. You can change it to anything you want. So this is an H1 here, and this H1 was inside of this division. After this division, we can simply have a link of next link, and this link can have an href to /tickets. That's it, and the label of it would be ticket, and let's have some class name for it. So for the class names, I can use a BG sky of 800 with text of white, and also padding x of 4, padding y of 2, and a rounded to be more beautiful. Good. So this is it. Now I have this welcome ticket here and ticket. Let's refresh. Okay, everything is good. If I click on ticket here, I will go to /tickets, which is not exist. We will create that later. We will go to 404 page. So good, and that's it. So let's format our document. So I think for the home page it's okay, and we use this page general class, and we will use this on all of our pages, so all of them would be like each other, and this is so good. And let's go back to the README and check. So for develop homepage, I think for homepage it's good. So let's mark it as X. And let's have another task here. Create loading page. So after developing homepage, I want to do this task, create loading page. We can have a loading page, a not found page, or a lot of error page, a lot of pages in next.js. We allow to create them and use them. So let's create a loading page here inside of my app. I can create a new file named loading.tsx, and let's say RAFCE. So this is my loading page, and that's it. So for now, I think I don't need this React, and inside of this division, so let's have a class name of page general class, and also let's have a custom spinner. This is it. Let's refresh. So when we are going to the loading state, this component would be rendered automatically. It has the page general class and this custom spinner. So good. So I think this was good for this task. This was so quick. And yes. So let's go to the next task. Create not found page. Inside of this app, we can create a NotFound.js or JSX or TS or TSX and RAFCE. This is it. So let's change this to not found page, and that's it. So if you go to somewhere that is not found, this would be rendered. So let's refresh. Let's go to ticket, which is not exist here. That's it. It's okay. You can see that it is rendering, and if I use class name of page general class, page general class, good. And inside of this, I can have h1 with not found page with class name of text of red of, let's say, 500. It is okay, and it is rendered automatically, but we have some error, and let's say it is a bug in Next.js new versions. I checked on their GitHub, this exists, and there are some issues about this. So you can see that it is rendering automatically, so it is refreshing. This is not good. So in order to handle this for now, we can create this as a catch-all rows for now until it is handled by the Next.js. So let's create a new folder inside of app and create this bracket 3 dot 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 and not found. Inside of it, create a page.tsx, and let's cut all of this content and move them to page.tsx and delete this not found. Okay, so let's go back to, okay, I deleted this not found. So let's refresh. You can see that sometimes you have this error, fail to read source code from here. This is good to see it in our tutorial. It says that I cannot find source code from app not found.tsx. Yes, we deleted it, but it's trying to read it. The problem is we are not allowed to delete some page from here, but we are on development mode, and it's okay. In order to handle this, you can simply stop your terminal. So clear, terminal is stopped. So after this, delete this .next and delete it, continue, delete permanently, again npm run dev. This will handle the problem because we have some caching. I don't want to speak about them right now, but this is the problem. So good. Now if I refresh, I don't have that error, and everything must works. So wait for it, it is reloading. So refresh. Now if I go to the tickets, I'm going to this not found page, and it seems that we don't have any refresh. That is so good. So I think we can add an icon here. So let me copy an image and use it here. So I copied two pictures into public. You can see that one of them is 404.png and the next one is error.png. You can copy this image from the GitHub repository and use it. So let's close this and continue to work on our NotFound page. And here we have a page general class. So good. So let's delete this h1, or you know what? Let's don't delete this. Let's create a new division and use it inside of this division. And before that, let's have an image tag which is coming from next link. So an image want an src, so we can use /404.png. It would be read from our public page here. So this is good. And after this src, we need to have some different props like width of 300. What happened? Width is 300 and the height also would be 300. For alt, you can use not found. That's it. And also for the loading, the default value, I think it is loading, but is lazy, but we use it to be sure. So I created a new image here with src, width, height, alt, and a loading of lazy. After that, I have this h1. So for its parent, which is this division, let's have some classes of padding y of 16, and let's have flex column, justify of center, and line items of center. Control S. So you can see that it is on the center of our screen. So we use these, and I have this image, and also I have h1 with class name of TextRed 500, and let's have a text of 3x large. That's better, and we use your requested page not found. Good, but I think 2x large must be better. Yes, and the margin top of 8. So good. So for the padding y, I think we can use 12 is better. Okay, let's refresh and be sure that we don't have any problem. So let's refresh. If I click on the tickets, I will go to the 404, and you can see that I'm still on /tickets, but 404 is rendering, and this is so good because this ticket doesn't exist yet. So I think for this task it is good. Let's close it, and for not found, we handle this task, and that's so good. After this, we can create the next task, which is create tickets list page. So let's do this. And in order to use the file-based routing, you know that in app router, we can simply create new folders and create a page.tsx or jsx inside of it. So inside of app, I create a new folder named tickets. And inside of the tickets, I create a page.tsx. Let's say RAFCE, and I say this is a tickets page or tickets list page. That's it. So let's refresh. If I click on tickets, no, I don't go to the 404. I go to tickets list. That's so good. Now let's work on this. Here, I want to grab a list of my tickets from my backend and render them here. So I want to fetch some data from my server and render them. The first thing is I want to have the address of my backend. So let's use it inside of my env file. I create a new you can see that on the main layout of this Explorer. I create a new file with .env.local, and inside of this we can use any name you want, for example, a base URL or backend URL or any name you want. And if you want it to be accessible on both server components and client components, simply you can add a next underline public underline, then use your name, and it would be accessible everywhere. This is it. So this needs to be my address. Let's see what is the address of api.dev.power. Let's check our backend address. Okay, try it. So this is the base URL for our tickets, and I will copy that and I use it here inside of next public base URL. So this would be accessible from process.env. Key. That is it. And after that, we can simply use it. So let's say that const URL equals to process.env. That name. Let's copy that name from here. This is it. But you can see that this is not suggested in TypeScript and this is not good. So let's create a type for it so we can have access it everywhere. This is so good. Let's create it inside of, you can see that in TypeScript we have next.js. We can use this.d.types, but the next.js says that this file should not be edited. So we don't edit this. We will create a new one. Let's create a new folder named typings, and inside of it let's create another file named of env.d.ts like this, but this is just env.d.ts, and inside of it let's create a namespace for Node.js. Good. And inside of this namespace we need to create an interface for process and inside of it we can use that name. So let's copy the name. This is my name, and here I say this is type of string. That's it. And so if I go to the page and I delete this, now you can see that for process.end. Here I have access to next public base URL, and it is suggested because here we added it to Node.js. That's so good. So this is the URL, and then we need to fetch the data from that URL and show it here. So let's create it. So we say const of tickets equals to a new data. So this data needs to be fetched from the server. We can simply, let's delete this React. We can create a fetch function for it and use it. So let's create it outside of my component. You can use it inside of component or outside of component. There is no problem. I simply use an async function of get tickets on the get tickets, and inside of it I can simply use the fetch. Okay, so this fetch is a little different with the previous fetch of JavaScript. This fetch belongs to next.js and it is so good. So inside of this fetch I want to pass the URL to fetch, and this URL is here. So we receive the URL as a string. That's it. And after this URL we can check that if not response dot okay, you can simply throw new error. All of these codes are accessible on next.js document and you can check them. So failed to fetch data, and that's it. So it is yelling at us. It says that on type of promise. Yes, because we need to use await here. Then we have access to this, and if there isn't any problem, we simply return the response.json, because this is not Axios. This is the fetch. So this is my function of get tickets, and now I can call it. So I can simply say await of get tickets, and this is it. And we pass the URL to it. And what is this? Is await exception are only allowed within async function. So we need to change this component to an async one. No, we don't have any error, and we can log the tickets and check them. So let's do this and let's check do we have them or not. So let's go to home page, npm run dev. It is refreshing. Okay, let's go to the tickets, and this is ticket list page. So now you can see that it is here, and because this is a server component, logs is here. If you use client, it would go to the client, but I don't want to use it for now. We'll continue with this. So you can see the log here, and because this is a TypeScript, it is better to use type for them. So let's copy one of them from here, or you can simply go here and copy from there. There is no difference. So let's copy one of these objects from here. Okay, and I want to create a type for them. So I will go to typing folder and I create a new folder, a new file here named general types.ts. And inside of this file, I want to create my new file. So let's do this. So I export and type of ticket is this. Okay, let's format document. So this is it, and in this object I have ID. This ID is a number. I have a time and its format is a string. Let's copy it and do this quickly. Passenger name is a string, and passenger SSN no from is a string, to is a string, and let's copy number. So passenger SSN is number and price is number, and that's it. Also, this is a ticket and we can use it, and while we are here, let's create two different one that we will use later. So I want to have a ticket create DTO, and this create DTO is a little different. It doesn't have this ID, so you can simply copy paste them for your create DTO, but there is a better way. We have a beautiful thing here named Amit. In TypeScript, you can use Amit, so I say that from the ticket, I don't want to use the ID. Okay, so this ticket create DTO would have everything as ticket but ID. You can see I have everything, but I don't have ID. So good, let's copy paste for ticket update. So you can use anything you want, but I want to use these two, and you can see that they are same, but I define two different DTOs. It is better. So in future, if you want to change anything, you won't crash your project and you won't have side effects. So this is the ticket, and now I have my ticket. Let's close it, and here for my ticket, I say this is a ticket array. That's it. So for now, you can see that this ticket is a type of ticket array, and this is so good. So let's continue and minimize this function for now. And after this, let's go here inside of the return part and let's delete this and continue. So we created a page general class for them. Let's go back to our project. I'm on ticket. So good. So we created a page general class for our pages. And after that, I want to have a division. And inside of this division, I want to have a back button that I created. I want to use it. And for this back button, I say your destination would be a slash. So good. After that, also I want to have the breadcrumb I created previously. So good. And for its items, I want to have, you know that we created the breadcrumbs. Let me show you. So we need to pass an array inside of this. We have an array, and inside of this array, we can have some different objects with a label. For example, tickets. And after label, we can have a row, for example, a slash tickets, and that's it. Let's format document. So this is for my breadcrumb. Now you can see it. This is here, and for the parent, which is this division, let's have a flex with justify of start and align items of center and a gap of x of 4. Control S to save. Now you can see that we have a little beautiful structure, and it is so good. So this was for my back button, and after that I have this breadcrumb, and that's it. After them, let's have another section. Okay, so after this division, I want to have another division, and instead of that, let's have some general inner title, and its title would be tickets list. That's it. So good. And also after this, I want to have an icon. So let's import my icon. I import something from React icons. Oops. From React icons / AI, and I want to use an AI outline square plus square plus. This is it. Let's copy it, and so after this general title, I want to have it good, but I want this to be a link, so I will cut it and I create a new link here. And for this link, I can have what happened. Okay, let's import link from next link. Good. And I want to have an href. So this link would goes to /tickets /create. That's it. And this is, you can see that it's going to here on the button, you can see that it's going to /ticket/create. Let's have some classes for them. For example, for the main class, let's have a flex with justify of between and align items of center. So good. That's it. And this general title has its own classes. It's okay, but for this link, we can have some classes like flex and items of center and gap of 2, and on hover I want it to have a text of blue of 600. That's it. And also let's have some transition and duration for it. So transition all and duration of 200. That's it. This is it. Okay, so for this icon, I want a class name of text tricks large. It is better to see it like here. And also after that, I want to have an span. This is the reason I use this flex with items of center. So after this, I want to have a span with issue ticket. That's it. So let's have this class name for it. But I think 2x large must be better, and I use a maximum of SM hidden, so it would be better. So you can see that before SM we have just this, and if we go to top vitesse more than SM, it will be shown. So good. This is it. So it will go to the next page, which is our creating tickets page. And this is it. So this was my link. After it, I want to have another section, and I want to render all of my tickets. This is it. So let's check, and we create some new components. And if we have the tickets, we render the components, else we render ticket node data. So let's create two different components here inside of my tickets. You can see that I'm inside of tickets. So I create a new folder named components. These components are just belong to this page, so I will create them here. But if you have some general components like these, you can create them to a general component folder. So inside of this component, I want to have two different files of tickets content.tsx, and also I want to have a tickets no data dot tsx component. That's it. So let's say RAFCE here and also RAFCE here, close, close. So here we say that if my tickets, this ticket is coming from here, good, let's delete this console.log for now. So I say if tickets.length is true, you need to render something else. So if it is true, you can receive the ticket content and you can pass the tickets data, which is the tickets. That's it. We'll create that right now. Else, you can render the tickets, no data. That's it. So this is it, and let's continue. And first, let's go and receive this tickets data inside of tickets content to have any error. So here I received the tickets data and interface props. So ticket data is a ticket array. And here we say that props. Okay, no, we don't have any error. And here for now, you know what, let's have an h1 and for now let's have a division. Oops, what happened? Let's have a division, and for now let's use a JSON dot stringify of the tickets data to see them. So this is my data and I want to render them. And also let's have this tickets no data. And for it, we can simply delete this the class names of text center and a text of 3x large. That's it. And inside of this division, we can simply have an h1 with no data found for tickets. That's it. So this is my ticket no data, and that's it. So let's go back to my page. So this is it. And let's go to the tickets no data. It's okay. Let's continue on tickets content. For this tickets content, it is here. It is just another component. I want to return. Let's delete all of them. This was just for test. I want to return a table. In this table, I want to show everything. So for this table, let's have a class name of width of full. That's good. And inside of any table, you know that we have t head and also we have t body. That's it. So inside of my t head, I want to have the class name of bg slate of 200 and also a padding of 2 is good. And inside of this t head, I want to have a t row, and inside this t row, I want to have some headers. So the first one can be ID. I want to make it completely responsive. On previous React project, we have done this, and we will do this again here. So let's do this. I say it is a text center. Good. Let's Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So after ID, I want to have a passenger name. That's it. And it is also a text center. So good. Let's Ctrl C, Ctrl V. After it, I have a passenger SSN. But for this passenger SSN, I want it to be responsive. So I say that on mux of MD hidden, and after MD, it would be shown. Let's minimize this. Good. So you can see that it is not here, but no, it is here. You can see that it is that simple. Ctrl C, Ctrl V. After passenger SSN, I want to have the from, and here I say that on max of LG you are hidden. Ctrl C, Ctrl V. 2, this is also on max LG of hidden. Ctrl C, Ctrl V again. You can see that I'm copy pasting a lot. That is so good. So for price, I want it to be on max of MD hidden. You will see it soon. and Control C, Control V, I want to have a time, but for this, I don't want to have any hidden. It would be shown everywhere. Good, and after it, I want to have a operations, and this is just text center. So you can see that I have these, okay, from and to, and price are responsive, so good. So this was for my T row. Inside of this T head, I had this TR. After that, I have a T body. So for this T body, I want to have a BG of a slate of 100 and a padding of 2. Good. And inside of this T body, I want to have different rows for my data. So I'm receiving a ticket data. I map on them. So ticket data.map receive the ticket. And for each ticket, I want to render an T row. That's it. So for each T row, we can use a key. You know that when you are mapping in React, you need to use a key with ticket.id. This is it. And also for it, let's have some class name. So let's move to the next line. And I'm again on TR. So for this TR, I have a key. And also I want to have some different class name, like border of 2. And you know what? In order to seeing it better, let's create a new TD here first. So it would render the item.id. Oops, what happened? Ticket.id. Format document. Okay, now you can see it. I have just 2 items for now. Okay, so I have a border of 2 for them and a border of gray of 100 or 200 can be better. Yes, a height of 10. And on hover, I say your BG is a slate of 300. That's it. Also, let's have transition and duration for it. So transition all and duration of 200. That's it. Let's refresh. Okay, now you can see it is so good. So this was for my T-row classes. After that, I want to have a TD, and you know what? Let's copy all of the top because the classes must be same. So I copy all of them from top and paste them here. So the first one is, okay, let's copy all of them and Control Z. Okay, delete this and copy all of this TH. Paste and change this TH to TD. Okay. You can see in VS Code, you can use Control D to get all of the tags and all of the equal values. So I say Control D. You can see they are all selected. And oops, I changed them to TD. That's good. And let's format document. No, I changed all of them to TD. For the first one, I want to render the ticket.id. Good. Next is ticket.passenger name. The next one is ticket.passenger SSN. The next is, you can see that copying is a better idea, ticket.from, and then ticket.to. So the classes are like the top. And for price is ticket.price. For time, ticket.time. And here for operations, we have a little different things. So let's do this. Inside of this, this TD with the text center is the last one for our operations. Inside of it, I create a new division with class name of, always I use flex, justify of center and align items of center. That's it. So inside of it, I want to have 3 different links. So these links are coming from link, and I want to have an href that goes to somewhere, and for example, for the first one, it's going to details. But in order to use these buttons, I want to use icons instead of text. So let's import some icons from there. So let's delete React for now and import some icons from React icons /md. The first thing is I want to have the md of outline of page view, and this is the first one. Next thing is md outline of edit, and after that I want to use md outline of delete. That's it. I just want to use these three. Okay, so in the link I use md outline of page view for the first one. This is it. Good. Let's have some class names. So let's have some class names for it. For example, I can use a bg of green of 600, a padding of 1, a rounded of md, and margin x of 1, control s. Good. Okay, I think it is good. And for its link, we can make it dynamic because I want to use the ID. So this link is going to /tickets / the ID. So $, curly braces allows us to use JavaScript. So I use ticket.id. That's it. And this is for the href of it. And also I have this class name of bg green with this. So good. I have this md outline page view. And let's have a class name of text of x large for it to be a little larger. Okay, no, it is better. Let's copy paste it. So I will copy this to 3. Good. So for the second one, this was the first one. Yeah, so let's minimize it. The next one is going to /tickets /edit / the ID. That's it. For the class names, we can use the yellow, and everything is same. And for its icon, we can use md outline of edit. That's it. Good. I think it's good. So let's minimize it. For the last one, it is going to /tickets /delete / this ID. And for its color, we can use the red. And here we can use md of outline of delete. Okay, now you can see all of them. So good, but let's make them responsive. So for the last one, which is delete and the edit, we can use some different classes. For example, for them here, I can have the max of md hidden. Let's use this class for the next one. Control S, good, refresh. Now you can see that they are hidden, and this is so good. So I think for this part, it is good. Let's check it again. So we received some props from its father, and here we showed that. And you can make this. Let me show you here if you want to log console.log. Let me show you what is happening on the server side and client side. So you can tickets data. You can log this tickets data, Control S. You can see that for now it would be logged here. They are all here, but if you use client, they would render as a client, and now we can check them on this console. Let's refresh. Good. Now you can see that they are all here. That's so good. So this is it, and for the times we can change them. So this is not really beautiful, and we need to use a package for changing them. So Ctrl C, clear, npm I moment. I use moment package. It is a good package for us. You can use any package you want. You can simply use moment. It is installing. Good. So let's minimize this TD. So for the ticket.time here, let's cut all of these. And inside of this TD, I want to render the time. But this, you can see that this is a UTC time, and this is not a good way to show it. So inside of this text center, we can simply use another span, and inside this span, do we have moment? Let's import it. Import moment. Yes, it is installed. Good. So we can use the, we need to use JavaScript. So we can use the moment dot format. That's it. So this moment needs the time. So we say that your time is ticket dot time. And for the format, let's start our project, npm run dev. And so for the format, we can use y, and dd underline or underscore hh and So year, month, day, hour, and minutes. So let's refresh here and format document and wait for it. So now you can see that it is changed, and if I render, let me show you quickly. If I use an h4 with ticket.time, you can see that this is the original timestamp, and this is it, and this is the render time. But this has a problem, and this data is not correct, and this is a problem with our backend. So in order to manage this, to have the local time of this, we need to, after this ticket.time, we need to add it to a Z in order to be a good time zone. So now you can see that it is rendering correctly. We will see that soon on creating. So now it is rendering. Let's go back, refresh, go to tickets. Now you can see that it is this timestamp, but this is a UTC time, and this is a local time. This is right. So I think for now, we can delete this h4, or you know what? Let it be here so we can check it later. So I think for now it is good, and let's go back here to page. Good. So let's refresh. Now you can see that I have all of this list, but two errors. Text content doesn't match server render. Yes, this is happening on development. This is no error. And let's refresh. Go to tickets and refresh again. Okay. Let's go here and close this. Okay, so stop and npm run dev again. Sometimes we have some problems on development, but it would be handled and there is no big problem. So let's go to the home, and I press Ctrl F5 to hard refresh. Good. Let's go to the tickets. Okay, I have this data. If I go back and I go here, I don't have any error. Good. I have my tickets, and I can go here, but this is going to 404, and you saw the loading. So good. So the requested page is not found. And let's go back to the page, and here, so I think that our create ticket list page is done. But before that, let me add another task here. So I added a new task. I want to talk about it: SSR, SSG, ISR, and CSR. And before that, I think we can add another thing. For example, on ticket list page, which is here, we can have the metadata again. So before everything, we can export const of metadata with type of metadata. And here we can have the, oops, what is this? We can have any title and any description. So I do this. So I added this data, the title of ticket list, dev and power, description, this. So you can see that you can change the title in any page you want, you can simply export a metadata and use your data. That's it. And let's go back to Redmi. So I think for the create ticket list page, everything is good. And let's mark it X. And let's go to the next task, which is SSR, SSG, ISR, and CSR. I want to talk about this. Let's go to the, let's close this ticket content for now and go to the page.tsx, which is app tickets page.tsx. And before continuing, let me copy some comments and I will talk about them. So, as a default rule, all of your fetch data would be cached or they are SSG. SSG is a static site generation in Next.js. So we have some different way of rendering or pre-rendering in Next.js like SSG, ISR, SSR, and CSR. I don't want to talk about them because this is not a course about all of the Next.js aspect. It's just using a project in the Next.js. But we will talk about them in another videos. If you want, let me know in the comments. But this is important to know, and I wanted to mention it here that as a default way of working on Next.js, everything would be SSG unless you use some dynamic contents. So you need to handle it and be sure about your data. So here, when you are using this fetch, you can handle it here by passing something after the URL. So you can pass some options. For example, you can see I have body, cache, credentials, headers, integrity, keep alive, method, mode, next, a lot of things. So if you want to, let me show you here for the cache is force cache. This is the default value of it, and when you say force cache, it would be an SSG. But if you want to make it to an SSR, which is server-side rendering, you need to use no store. This is it. And if you want to change it to the ISR, you can simply use, which is incremental. I'm sorry, which is incremental. So you can use a next, another object, and the revalidate. Let's say 10 seconds. In every 10 seconds, your data would be updated automatically after requests. And this is it. For now, I want to change this to cache of no cache, no store, sorry. So no, this is SSR, and that's it. So when we are working on the Next.js, we must be aware of everything and handle them. In previous versions, we had get static props and get server-side props, but for now, we can simply handle them inside of this page. You can see that it is so easy. And this was the thing I wanted to speak about inside of our projects and talk about SSR, SSG, ISR, and CSR. So we changed this function to an SSR. So I think this for this part it was it. So let's add another task. And that's it, create error page. So for this task, this was not a task, it was just a section I wanted to speak about it. This was too important, but let's mark it because we added some comment here. This is so good. So let's mark it as done and go to the next part. Next part is handling our errors. So when you are fetching something, always something may happen and your app may crash. For example, let's say that here for URL, okay, so let's go and change it inside of my env.local. So let's say that this is wrong. For example, this is DDD after it. What will happen? This is wrong. So we will fetch, but the response is not okay. So refresh. And you can see that we have an error and it says that failed to fetch data. So when this is happening, we need to handle this situation. So we need to throw an error. You can see that we throw the new error, and when we are throwing new error, it would activate the closest error.js error boundary. So the error.js is a reserved file name inside of the Next.js, and we can use it. Let's create one and test it. So you can, let me show you inside of app, if you create something inside of app like this loading, it would be general and it would be used for everything. But you can use it also on every route you want. For example, on tickets, here inside of this ticket. You can create it here, or you can create it inside of this app, or you can create it everywhere you want. And I want to create a general one, so you can see. So inside of the app, I will create a new file name. Document says error.js, but we are using TypeScript, so I use error.tsx. And here I say RAFCE, that's it. So for now, I don't need this React, and this must be a client component based on the next.js document. So Control D, Control D. So error page. That's it. And I don't have any inputs or something. Let's delete everything. And for the class names, let's use a page general class. You can see that I created this and I'm using it everywhere. Page general class. Inside the page general class, let's have another division. And inside of this, I want to have an image. And this image is coming from next image. So for the src, we can use /error.png. You can see that in public we copied that before. You can copy this from the GitHub repository. Good. And this is for my src, and I want to have a width, let's say 300, also a height of 300, and alt of not error. Oops. Not error, sorry, error. And also let's have a loading of, you can see that I have loading of lazy and eager. I use lazy, it is better for the performance. So after this image, we can have an h1 with sorry, that's it. And let's have some class name for it. For example, text of red of 500. And also a text of 3x large, Control S. So Control C, Control V. Sorry, we have error right now. Control C, Control V. Please try again later. That's it. So this is for my error, and this must be a client component. Now I created this error.tsx. Let's go and in page. So let's refresh in tickets. Okay, now you can see that if I go to let's refresh everything. Okay, I'm on /home. If I go to the tickets, I will see this. You can see that I'm on tickets, but I will see this error, and this is so good. But let's have a flex to be center. Let's go to the error again, error.tsx, and I think it is better to be on the center. So for the class names, you can simply use a flex, and a flex of column is good, and justify content of center, and also align items of center is good. And let's have a padding y of 12 for it. Okay, now this is it. So I think this is really better. So when you have any error, you can see that in, let's close this error for now. So we are fetching, and if response is not okay, we can simply throw an error. This error would be cached by the error boundary, which is inside of error.js or JSX or TS or TSX. So good, it is working, and you can see it. And if I go here and I say it is a ticket, this is the true URL, and refresh. Okay, everything is good, but this is not a problem because this is from the development mode. Let's Control F5. Let's go to tickets. Okay, we don't have any error. Everything is good. So I think for the handling error with error boundary, we have done this task. So let's mark it as done and go to the next task. So for the next task is add search functionality to tickets list page, which is Debounced search. So let's check our backend Swagger. Okay, so you can see that if I execute my list, you can see that it will return everything. But I can search, so I can send everything. For example, let's say what we have, okay, like 1. Let's search 1. Now you can see that I just have the tickets that its passenger name contains 1. You can see that it is filtered, and the URL would be changed to tickets question mark q equals to 1. This is a search params, and this is what we are going to implement. This is so useful, and you need it in all of your commercial projects or your real world projects, and that's it. So let's implement it. In order to doing this, if you send a request by any character, you would not have good performance. But there are a standard way which is debouncing, and I will implement it, and I will show it to you how you can use it. In order to implement the debouncing, we need to use a custom hook. So let's close everything, and inside of the main space, create a new folder named hooks for our custom hooks. I want to create a new hook name, useDebounce. useDebounce.ts, or because this is a hook and it is returning something JSX, I can use TSX. So that's it. And let's use RFC here. So we create a useDebounce. And because this is a hook, it needs to be a client component. This is it. And we need a state. So let's import something from React. And we need use a state inside of it. Also, we need use effect. That's it. So we receive them. And in this custom hook, I want to receive a search, a string as a string, and also a delay as number. So I say how much delay we need in this debounced search. So let's have a const of debounced value and set debounced value. This is a use a state of search string is its default value, and the type of it is a string. So good. And after this, now I have a debounced search value state. So I can simply use a use effect to handle everything. And this is it. So here I want to use a timer ID. I want to use a set timeout. Why I'm using this syntax? Because I want to clean it on the unmounting of this component, so our performance would be good. So I use a set timeout, and inside this set timeout, I want to have this. For its time, we use delay. That's it. So what we need to do inside this set timeout, we can simply say that set debounced value of search string. That's it. And why we are using this, let's compilate it. So inside of use effect, we create this timer ID, and we create a timeout, and we use the ID of it, and we save it inside of this timer ID. And on the return, you know that this return when run when the unmounting phase is operating. So here we can clear that timeout. Clear timeout of timer ID. That's it. And if I show you here, so log timer run, and here if you console.log timer delete, you will see that when this happens and when this happens. So this is it. And also because this is a use effect, it needs some dependencies. So on changing of search string and the delay, this would be run. This is so good. And after this, we simply return the debounced value. So when this debounced value is changed, we will return this, and this is an state, so it would render everything. It was our use debounced, and now it's time to use it. Let's go and use it inside of our page. So we are here inside of, let's go to app tickets page. So how we can do this, we want to have it here. So we have first division, second division, and before rendering we can have a component for it. So let's create a new component for it, name search box.tsx and RFCE and use it here. So search box it is, and that's it. So let's go to the search box, and here inside of my search box I want to use that debouncing. So let's start. The first thing is, inside of this I want to have a division, and I want to have an input and work on this input as my search controller. So let's create a state for it. So const of search value and set search value is a use a state of empty string, and its type is, you know that we are working on a string. So good. Let's delete this React, and that's it. So the first thing is we have this. So for this I can use the value of search value, and on change we can receive the E and set search value to E dot target dot value. That's it. So it would be controlled by this state. This is my first step. Let's refresh. Okay, it says that you're importing component that needs user state only working client. Yes, it says that you need to use client because this uses the user state. Also, we need use effect. So it would uses client components. That's it. So let's see. Okay, we cannot see it because it's here. So in order to see it better, let's have a type for it. Its default value is text, but it's better to type it here, and let's have some class name for it. For example, I want to have outline of none. I don't want any outline, but I want to have a border of 2 with border of gray of 200 is good for me. Okay, now you can see that it is much more better. And on focus, we can change the border to gray. Okay, on focus, border. It is not suggesting why. Okay, on focus, border of gray of 500. Okay, now it is on focus. It has a better border. And after that, we can have padding left of 8 and a rounded of LG. Not bad. So we have rounded of LG. And after that, we can have a width of full, but max width of LG is better. Okay, now it is dynamic. Yes, I think it's good. And that's it. So this was for my input. And also I want to have an icon here. This is because I use margin left, padding left of 8, sorry. So let's import an icon for our search from React icons /AI, and I want to use AI outline of search. That's it. So after this input, we can simply render AI outline search, and that's it. But you know that in order to having this in a good place, we need to have some position of relative and absolute, and that's it. So for the main division, we can use a position of relative and a margin button of 4. Okay, that's good. And after that, for this, we can have some class names. For example, the position would be absolute, and that's good. So let's have the top of 2 and the left of 2. Not bad. And also let's have a text of 2x large and a text of gray of 400 for it. Okay, not bad, but it seems that for its height it is not good. So let's have the top of 1. Okay, this is absolute. This is relative, but it seems okay. It's not problem. And what if we have another padding for height? For example, after padding left of 8, we can have a padding y of 2, 1. Better with top of 2 and left of 2. Okay, no, this is what I want. Let's refresh. To error, but this errors text content doesn't match server rendered HTML. No problem. So let's stop our server and npm run dev again. Good. So this was just for my classes. Now I want to have the functionality. So let's close this and continue. So inside of my search box, I created this state, and after this, I want to use the debounce, my useDebounce. So const of debounced search value equals to useDebounce, and this useDebounce, you know that we have two input: search string, which is this search value, and a delay, let's say 2000. So after 2 seconds, and that timer would be done, and we have this double search value. And let's have a use effect to handle it, and a dependency array. So inside use effect, we create our URL and then we use routing. So const of the URL equals to something, and we use the router. So in order to using the routing, we need to import use router from use router. But it is not from next router, it is from next navigation, and we say const of router equals to use router, that's it. And we use the router dot push to URL to this URL, and after that we can have this dependency of the one search value. So for this URL, I want to conditionally check it. So I say that const URL equals to if the debounced search value equals to an empty string, it can be slash tickets, else it can be slash ticket slash something. So make it dynamic slash tickets slash q equals to debounced search value. Okay, it seems that we have a problem. I don't want to. What is this? Cannot assign to the one search value because it is a constant. Oh, this is not assignment. Control S. Okay, so we say that if the one search value is empty array, let's go to slash tickets. Let's go to slash ticket slash q. This. Let's test. So if I if I refresh and I go to tickets. Okay, this is it. Let's check the log because on useDebounce we used log. Yeah, so let's refresh. We have 2 errors. Okay, let's stop our terminal and npm run dev again and refresh. Okay, let's go to the home and refresh. Tickets. Okay, let's check our console and delete everything. So if I say AA, you can see that timer delete, timer run. So good. And it is going to slash ticket slash q. And if I delete everything after 2 seconds, I will go back to slash ticket. So if I say test, you can see that timer delete goes and runs for 4 times, but timer runs once. That's so good. So it seems that it is okay. The next thing is we need to receive this parameter and send it to our URL. So let's close this search box for now and close the useDebounce. And here we need to work on it. So here, when we receive the URL, we just send that URL. So before receiving this URL here, we can change that URL. So let's do this. And first thing is we need to receive something here. We say context. Let's check it. Context with type of any. This is just to show you. So this is a server component. So when we receive anything, let's log it. So log context and check it. Okay, now you can see that in context I have params and search params with queue of test. That's so good. So this is what I want. So here, instead of this context with any, I use a, let's copy this search params. That's it. And here, let's have interface for it. Oops. Okay, I say that this search params is an object. Okay. Okay, let's delete this comment for now. So inside of these props, we say that we have the search params, and inside of that, I have this object with a queue, and its type is string. Let's save it, and again, this is my props. So this is, let's console that like this search params. Queue is test. So good. Now let's change everything. So I say, instead of const, I say let URL is this, and delete this search params. And I check and I say if the search params dot queue exists, you can add it to your URL. So I say your URL is, again, let's change it. So I say URL and queue equals to the search param dot queue. That's it. And after that, this URL will go to the get ticket. So let's check. Okay, refresh. We have some errors. This is not good. Let's refresh again. Let's go to the home, refresh. Tickets. Okay. Now let's check it. So you know that I have Jon Snow and test one. So if I use one, I want to just see the test one. That's good. You can see that it is working. I'm going to /q1, and if I delete everything, I will go back to my /ticket, and if I say, oh, I need to just see Jon Snow. Yes, it seems that it is working completely true. So I think our task is done for now. So we added search functionality to ticket display using Debounced search, and let's mark it as done, and let's go to the next step. So after completing search functionality, it's time to go to the next step, create TicketCreate page. Let's do this. So inside of my app, and after app, I'm going to tickets, and in ticket, let's create a new folder named create for creating tickets. And inside of it, I want to have a page dot tsx with RFCE and ticket create page, or any name you want. So let's refresh. Okay, it seems that from now on, every refresh text content match server is okay. This is not a problem, but you know what? In the time zone of Iran, we have some issues. So let me show you here why I have all this error on refresh. It is not an error, it is just on development, but let me show you the reason. So inside of ticket page and on ticket content, so you can see that if I use this use client, this is true, but if I don't use this use client, it would change and it would go to, for example, 9. And this is the reason I have some errors on my development, but this is not a problem. But the problem is in Iran we have some issues in our time zone, so our time zone is changed. In the browser it is true, so you can see that when I'm using use client it will go to the browser and it is true, but when I don't use client it would be rendered on the server and the time is wrong. So if I use the server the time is 9, but if I use the client the time is 8. You can see this is the reason I got that error, but this is not a problem for us. This is just in development, and that's it. This is the reason. So let's close it. Let's go to the create. This is it. So I want to work on this. And you know what? We can copy a lot of data from our previous rows. For example, let's go to tickets page. And the structure is the same. So I will copy that. So before the search box, so I have this main division, one division, two, and the search. Before the search box, I copy these and go to the page of tickets create. And here I will delete these and paste it. And after then, let's close the division. Good. So let's import the BackButton and also import the Breadcrumb. We need all of them. Also a title. And let's add the link and this AI square plus. This is not imported, but we need to import that from the React icons. But we don't need this link. Let's delete this link for now. Control S and refresh. Okay, so in TicketCreate page, I have a page general class, good. After that, I have class name of flex, justify start, item center, gap x4, so good. And I have back button, and this destination will goes to tickets. So this time, if I click on this, you can see that I'm going to /tickets. That's it. And after that, I have a breadcrumb, and I have this item, but I want to add another one. So let's see it better. This is my array, and inside this array I have this object, and let's copy paste. So after this first one I have another one with create, and its route is not important for us. So let's format document, and this is, now you can see that how beautiful it is. And I have home, always I have this home, then I have all of these items. The first one is ticket with a /ticket, and the last one is always just an span. That's so good. And after that I have a division with flex justified between item center with tickets list, but this time because I don't have an add button, I delete that classes. And for the title I can simply use create ticket. That's it. And after this division I want to create a new component and use it. So let's do this, and inside of this create let's add a components, and inside of that create ticket form.tsx and rafce. So I want to use this inside of my page here. Okay, so create ticket form. That's it. Okay, let's refresh. Okay, so I want to work on this create ticket form. Let's close this for now and close this page. Okay, so let's go here, and inside this create ticket form I want to have a form, and also I want to use React hook form. So let's install React hook form. Control C, clear, npm I React hook form. It is installing. Let's wait for it, and it is installed. Let's use npm run dev again. Okay, now I have my React hook form. So good. So first thing is I want to use client. So this is a client component. And for now, let's delete this React and continue. And inside of create ticket form, I want to have a loading state. So I use const of loading and set loading equals to use state, and its value is false, and its type is boolean. That's it. Oops. So this is the first step. I want to have a loading. Also, let's have the router because we want to redirect our user. So let's import the use router from next navigation, and let's have the router. So const of router equals to use router. Now I have access to routing system. Also, I want to have the form, so you can check the documentation of the React Hook form, but I want to show you a simple way of using it. So let's do this. First, I say that const form equals to use form, and this use form can have a default value of an empty object, and you can send the type to it. So I say the type of view is ticket create DTO. We created this ticket create in typings, and that was it. So you can see it. So good. So I created a form, and you can destructure everything here, but because this is a tutorial, I want to show everything. So from this form, I want to destructure something from this form. And what I want here, I want to have the register method, and also the handle submit, and the form state, and also a reset from this form. Okay, so I destructure all of them. Also, I want to destructure something from form state, which is errors. That's it. So you can destructure everything here, but this is I think this is a better idea to show the beautiful things of React Hook form. This is so easy in my opinion. And then we can have const of onSubmit function. We want to have a function that to be run on the submit, and it can be an arrow function that receives a data with type of ticket create DTO. And we can simply log that data. For now, Control S. Okay, this is it. So we log that data, and let's start. So when we are returning something, here I can simply return a JSX and empty fragment, and inside of that I check that if loading state is true, you can use the custom spinner we created before. This is it. And after that, if we have a loading, we will show the custom spinner. Then let's have another one and create a form. So for this form, we can have some class names, and we can have onSubmit for it. Let's have the onSubmit first. So onSubmit, we can use that handle submit of React Hook form and run this onSubmit function on it. So if the form is submitted, this onSubmit function would be called and the data would be received by it. That's it. So this is for my onSubmit. After that, let's have some class names, and because I want it to be dynamic, I use curly brace and this backticks, and I can use a border of 2 and a border of gray of 200, a width of 96, and a maximum width of full, and a margin X of auto to be in the center, margin top of 4, padding of 2, and a rounded of LG. Also, the dynamic part is this. I want to check that if loading is true, you can have the blur of X large, else nothing. So let's format document. This is all of the classes I want to use here for my class name of form. That's good. Also, after that, we can use the no validate. So we will disable the validation of the HTML and use the validation of React Hook form. That's it. So after that, we need to have some different rows. So let's do this. So I'm inside of my form, and for each row, I will create a new division with class name of margin 4, and inside of that, I can have a label. I don't need HTML4 with a class name of text of slate of 500, and for the first one, we can say ticket time. That's it. So this is for the label. And refresh. We cannot see it because we need to import it. Yes, let's go to the page, create ticket form. Oh, okay, no, it's refreshed. So this is it. This is my form. So let's continue. And I have a label. After this label, I want to have an input. Okay, so the type of this input must be a datetime local. In fact, it is a better idea to use some good components, but in this tutorial, I want to make everything simple. So we use just the input of datetime of HTML. And this is it. Also, we can have a class name for it. For example, a border of 2 and a border of gray of 300. A width of full is important for us, and also a margin y of 2 and a rounded of LG, padding x of 4 and padding y of 1. That's it. So this is my input. And after this class name, we need to handle, that we need to handle the value and unchange. But with React Hook form, it is so easy. We just need to open a curly brace and we say ... register. And this register is everything. So we pass the name of the field to this register. So what is this? You can see that because in use form, here we use TicketCreate DTO, we have access to all of the fields. So let's say that this is time. Okay, so this is time. Also, we can have some different configurations. So after this string, we can pass an option to it. For example, we say that required is true, and you can also pass a message. So ticket time is required, and also because this is a time, we can use this value as date to true. So let's format the document. That's it. And in this register, we use all of this. So this is it. This is just what we want for handling our input. And that's it. And after this input, and inside of this division, let's have an span for our error. So inside of this span, we can say that if the structure error, so we say if errors dot time exists dot message. That's it. And we can have some class name for it. For example, bg red of 200 and a text red of 600, and we can have a rounded of MD for it. So I think this is good for the ticket, and we'll test it after creating everything. So this was for the first one. Let's copy this. And okay, after ticket time, we want to have passenger name. So let's delete this passenger name. And after passenger name, in this input type must be a string. And we need to have an auto complete of off. It is better. That's it. So the type of it would be text. I used a string here. The type must be text. So the class names can be the same, but for the register, we change it to passenger name. And let's copy this passenger name. We say that for required, passenger name is required, and we don't need this value as date. That's it. And also for the errors, we use passenger name. That's it. So I think this is good for passenger name. Also, let's copy it. Again, after passenger name, we need to have passenger SSN. So autocomplete off. The type is number here because it is a number. Register passenger SSN. Required is passenger SSN is required. Also, we can have the value as number true. And that's it. Also, we can change this to a passenger SSN. You can see that now I'm just using the same structure and copy pasting it. So after passenger SSN, what we want to have the from and to. So let's change this to from, and this input has the type of text, and it is from. So from is required, and we don't have value as number. And here we say, we say from. That's it. So let's copy this again. And what is the next one? The next one is to. So to, let's check it. So to autocomplete of type text class name. Okay, register to, and to is required, and to message. So after to, what do we have? We have the price. So let's copy this again. And here we use price. The type it must be number, register of price, and price is required. And my bad. Price, that's it. So also, because this price is number, we need to have the value as number of true. That's it. So I think everything is good for now, and that's it. Let's refresh. So ticket time, passenger name, SSN, from, to, price. That's it. We have all of them. So good. So after all of them, let's have another division for our buttons. And instead of that, we can have two buttons. The first one can be the submit, and the next one can be reset. So let's create one of them with all classes, then we'll copy that. So for its parent, we can use a flex with justify of between, and align items of center. That's it. And for the first button, we can have the class name of BG, sky of 800, and the text of white, and padding x of 4, padding y of 2, margin x of 8, and margin y of 2, and a rounded of LG is good. So this is it, and let's copy this button. And for the next one, we can use BG of orange, and all the classes are good, and it is reset 4. And in this button, we can have a type of button to be sure that it would not submit the 4. And also, let's have an onClick. So onClick, we can simply call that reset function that we destructured from React Hook 4. That's it. So let's test everything. And let's open our console on the right side and refresh and check. So if I submit, it says that ticket time is required, passenger name is required, passenger SSN, from, to, price. Everything is required, so good. Let's add some date and time, and 111, 111, 111, and submit. Okay, in submit, you can see that everything from passenger name, passenger SSN, price, time, to, and everything is good. So let's continue, and also let's check reset form. Yes, it is working correctly. So good. Now let's go back and work on the onSubmit function. So here in onSubmit function, we are just we just use console.log data, but we need to send our data to the backend. So in order to doing this, we can use the fetch, but rather than fetch, I use Axios. I think it's better idea. So let's clear and use npm I Axios. Good, npm run dev. I think for post and delete and patch and put, the Axios is better. Also, you can use fetch, there is no problem. So I have console.log data. After that, I can use a try catch in order to handle everything. So in try, we can set the loading to true. That's it. Then we need to await the Axios.post. And what is the address of our backend? We know that we have the process.env.next public base URL. After that, we have a slash create. And after that, we need to send the data to backend. That's it. And it says, okay, await is async. Yes, because we need to use async here. No, we can use await. So we send our data to the backend, and after that, we can simply say router.push to the address we want, which is the ticket. That's it. And also, I want to show a beautiful alert here. So let's install a quick package here. So npm I react hot toast. React hot toast. That's it. Good. So hot toast. This is the package, and when we want to use it, first we need to install it. Then we need to have this toaster on our project, this component, and then we can call the toast. So we need to use this component in all of our projects where we use. So let's use it generally. Go to the app on layout, and here after this main, I check it. So the name is toaster, import from React Hook 4. Now it would be accessible on all of our project. And let's go back here. So after this, we can test, and we say that toast, no, not imported. Let's import it. So import toast, not from React hot toast. That's it. And after this, let's have the toast dot success of the ticket created successfully, and that's it. And in any case of error, it must be handled. So you know that you can handle on everything you want. For example, I simply log the error here. Also, I will throw an error. So toast dot error on creating new ticket. That's it. So let's test everything for now, and let's go back to my tickets, go back to home, and let's start npm run dev and create a new ticket. Let's go to the tickets, loading. Okay, so I have test 1 and John Snow. Let's create a new one. For example, this with this time. Passenger name is new test. Passenger session 111 from Berlin to Moscow. Price is 1200. Let's submit and check. So ticket created successfully, so good. But we cannot check it. We cannot see it here. Although we are redirecting to this page, this is not here. Let's refresh and it would be shown. So you see that we had some problems. The problem is this page is cached. And let's go here on app, tickets, on page. So here we speak about it and we changed the cache to no store, but you saw that it was cached and that was a problem for us. The problem is, let me show you, the problem is coming from this router.push and it does a soft navigation, but it must have hard navigation and refresh the page. It doesn't do this and it is a problem in next.js and it has issues on the next.js GitHub repository. For now, we can simply handle this by using router.refresh. After we pushing, we refresh the router, then we have the toast of this. And let's refresh. Okay, I have this error. Let's stop. And let's delete this next again. This is not good. But this error is on the development mode. This is not a problem. So npm run dev again. You can simply use server components to handle this. And also, of course, there are a lot of ways to handle this, but my focus is not on them. Refreshing. Okay, let's go and create a new one. Okay, AAA 111 from BBB to CCC. This is just a test and price is 111. So passenger name is AAA. Let's check it. Okay, ticket created and now we have it because here we used router.refresh and we handled our problem easily. So I think it is created successfully and we don't have any error. So let's go here and mark this as done and go to the next part. The next task is creating ticket details page. So let's do this. Let's minimize it a little and continue. So in app tickets, I want to have a dynamic route because I want to have an ID for different page. So the way is like here inside of this tickets, we use this brackets and as ID, this would be our parameter. So inside of it, let's create a page.tsx and let's use RFCE. So this is now if we go to one of them, for example, this, you can see /tickets / this ID, we come here. So good. Let's copy the structure from, let's say, this page. Okay, so I want everything before the search box. Again, let's copy and paste them here. Let's close the final division. Import the BackButton. Import Breadcrumb. Import general title. And delete this link again. We don't need this link. And delete these classes for now. So for my document. Okay, let's refresh. Okay, so we are on ticket list. And also this time, because I have this ID, I want to receive the ID. Let's change this to ticket details page and change it here. That's good. So here we are going to, again, you saw that we handled it here. You can receive the params and search params. This time I want to receive params. I don't want to use search params. Let's copy this interface and have it here to use it. So interface of props, this time I don't want to use the search params. I want to use the params, which is coming from the next.js. And inside of that, I have and ID, which is a string. So I'm receiving a params with type of params. This is it, and I want to have it. So we need to have a function. So a function to fetch with this ID. Again, we can create that. Also, we can say that const of ticket equals to a weight of a new function like get ticket and pass this params dot id to it, and now we'll create it. Let's make this async. Now we can use await. So we need to have this, and let's make this to a ticket type. That's it. So let's create this get ticket. Let's copy the data from here. So I have this get ticket and I copy that from there. Good. Before this props, let's paste it and change its name. So it is get ticket. This get ticket is receiving an ID with type of a string, and let's this time let's create the URL for it. So const of URL, because we need this URL to be dynamic based on this ID. So we say URL is, again we need the process dot env dot backend base URL. Then we need to have a slash with ID. That's it. So this is my URL, and I will call the URL here. So I fetch the URL with cache of no store, so it is SSR, and if not response.ok, this time I know that it must be 404. So what we can do, we can simply return undefined, because I want to show you a new method based on the next.js documentation. So if response is not okay, I simply return undefined, else I return the response.json. That's it. And inside of this ticket, I call the ticket here. And if, let's show you, if not ticket and if it is undefined, we can simply call a not found, which is coming from next navigation. That's it. So this is it, and let's refresh. Good. So if you have something that is not exist, we go to this error. But we'll check it later. So let's go and continue. So here, if not ticket, we receive a not found, else let's go to the tickets and watch one of them, for example this one. So let's continue. Here I want to have this page class good, and the class is okay. The back button goes to a slash tickets, and here on the labels, you know what, let's copy them from the, or no, we don't want to use the create. So inside of this array I have one item. Let's copy that. So the next one is tickets with a slash tickets. The next one is the params.id, and its root is not important for us because it's not going to render. That's it. So we are going to slash home tickets and 5.4. That's so good. And after that I have the title. So for this title I use ticket details for ID of params.id. That's good. But let's change this to a dynamic one using this backticks, and we need to have not good, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. Okay, let's cut everything and use them here. So ticket details for ID of param.id, that's it. For ID 5.4. Then we need to have a ticket detail. So let's have a ticket details component. Let's create a ticket detail inside of ID. We use a components folder and a ticket details.tsx. Let's use RFCE, and let's import from ./components ticket details. And we need the data of this ticket. So let's pass the ticket to it and receive it. That's it. So let's go to ticket details and receive this, and interface of props. We have this ticket, which is this ticket type. That's it. And here we use the props. That's it. So we have the interface of props for it, and let's continue. So we have one division, and inside this division, let's create another division. Instead of that, let's have two span. So in the main, let's have class name of, let's say, border gray 100 and border of 2. That's it. And I have two different spans. For the first one, I say, for example, ticket ID, and for the next one, I will render ticket.id, and let's format document, refresh. So this is it. And let's continue. So for the main class, let's have a border of 2 and a border gray of 300 and a flex column gap of y of 4, also a padding of 4 and a rounded of LG. That's it. But I think this is not a good idea, so let's delete this border for now, and if we want it, we can add it later. So now it is better. So for the first span, which is the ticket ID, we can use text of LG and a font of bold and a text of sky of 900 and a margin right of 4. That's it. And for the next span, we can have just the text of LG. I think it is good for now. Yeah, this is it. So this is the structure, and we want to just copy paste this a lot of times. So let's copy this and let's have it here. So after ticket ID, I want to have the passenger name, and the next span would be ticket.passenger name. After passenger name, of course, we have the passenger SSN. That's it. And here we have the ticket.passenger SSN. After passenger SSN, we can have from and to. So let's use the from and ticket.from. Also, let's have to, and this is the ticket.to, and also we have the price and the time. So let's have another one for price, ticket.price. This is it. And also after this price, we can have another one for the time. So let's have the ticket time here. That's it. And here we can use the time, but we saw that ticket.time is not a good idea because it's a timestamp. So let's copy that from the main page, which was, let's go to the tickets and components, ticket content. So from here we used one, so let's copy this again. And in ticket detail, instead of this ticket time, I use it. We need moment. Let's import the moment. So import moment from moment, and let's make this the use client. Good. Okay, now it is working, and I think it is good. So this was for our time, and after this division, let's have another division, which inside of it I want to have two different links. So the first link would be for edit, and it is going to have the href to slash tickets slash edit slash id. So ticket.id, and this is it. And let's have some class name for it. So class name of bg yellow 600 and text white and padding x of 4, padding y of 2, and rounded of md and margin x of 1. That's it. So this is the first link and it's go there. So let's copy this link again and have it here. So the next link would be bg of red. That's good. And its label would be delete. And also its href goes to delete. So for the parent, let's have flex and justify of between, good, and align items of center. That's so good. So I think it is good. Edit, delete. So let's go to the home and refresh. If I go to tickets, I have the first one. Let's go here. So this is it. I have edit to edit 54, 404, good. And I go to delete, slash delete, and it will true and 404. So good. So I think for ticket details, it is good. So let's close for now and also close its page and mark it as done. The next task is ticket edit. Edit is like the create, but the different thing is we need to first get the data from the backend and then edit it. So it is really like creating, so we can reuse some of the contents from create. So let's go to the tickets, and here we have ID components create. Let's create another folder for edit, and inside of this edit, of course, because we have parameters, we need to create an ID, and inside of that ID, let's have a page.tsx, and let's use RFC. So because a lot of things are like the creating, I copy this, all of this from here, and you can see that I don't use this link here, so let's delete it. So I'm on app tickets create. I copy everything, and I will go to edit page and paste that here. So good. So let's delete this create ticket form. I don't want it. So this is the ticket edit form. Sorry, ticket edit page. So let's refresh. Okay, again errors. Let's go to the home, refresh. You can see that. Okay, I go to edit. Okay, now I am on tickets page. Good. So let's start from the top. Tickets edit page. So we have class name of this. Good. And slash tickets for the back button. Okay. I have breadcrumb with ticket, and the next thing is edit. So good. And that's so good. So ticket edit. Also, you can use, for example, slash edit slash the ID or anything you want. I simply use this, but you know that you can, for example, if you add something else, for example, this, and let's say 24, you can see that this is it. But I don't want to use it. This is good for me. So this is my item. After that, I have title of edit ticket. So you can see that I'm using an ID, so I need ID. Let's copy them. So let's close this create. From the details, I have all of them, yeah? So I have a get ticket function, and I have this ID params. This is exactly like the details ID. So I can reuse all of them. Let's copy all of these. So I use the get ticket function and this props interface again, and inside of edit ID, before everything I paste them. This is the first step. The next thing is we need to receive these params, then we need to await for get tickets, and then check NotFound. So let's copy again and inside of get tickets, this is it, and we need to receive the params, and we say that you are props. That's it, and make this async. So you see that I copy paste a lot of things from different pages and I am reusing them. So let's import ticket from typing general types, and let's import this NotFound from next navigation. Good. So we have the get ticket with ID, and we say that this is it. This is exactly like the details, because we need to fetch the data, then edit it. And if it is not okay, we return undefined and const ticket, await get tickets, and not found. So good. After this, we need to create an edit form and use it. So inside, let's close everything, go to app, tickets, edit. So inside of this ID, I create a new folder named components and ticket edit form.tsx rfc. So inside of our page, I call it ticket edit form. That's it. And also let's pass the ticket to it and use it there. Okay, so this is it. So I think this page is good for now. Let's go to the ticket edit form. A lot of things here are like the create form. So let's copy a lot of them from there. So let's go to the create components. And you know what? I will copy everything because I need all of the form and React Hook form and anything. Control R, Control C. And I go to the components of ticket edit form. And I paste everything here. That's good. So let's minimize the component and change the name to ticket edit. Oh, this is create ticket. Let's change this to edit ticket form.tsx. Yes. So let's change this to edit ticket form and edit ticket form. So good. And in page, we use edit ticket form. That's good. Let's delete the last one. Okay. And we pass the ticket to it. So this is it. And this time we are receiving a ticket. And you know that this is the method. So let's have an interface of props. And we receive a ticket with type of ticket. That's good. So this is it. And now I'm on edit ticket form. I'm receiving this ticket. And let's refresh. Okay, you can see that all of my previous form of create, which I copied here, are here and they're working completely okay. We just need to have the initial value for them because this is editing. How we can do this? It is in fact too easy. We just need to use a use effect here. So let's create a use effect here. So we have a form on submit. Let's have a use effect. And here I want to send the data to the React Hook form. In order to doing this, we need to have another, let's minimize this. We need to have another useful tool that coming from form. So with the structure, the set value. You see, we can use set value and get value and a lot of things. And by the way, if you want to be a master of React Hook form, there are a lot of functions to learn. If you want, let me know in the comments and we will have another tutorial about the React Hook form and its power. So we need to use set value. And here we can simply use that. So set value to time is ticket dot time. And that's it. So we can copy that. The next thing is passenger name. Oops. The next thing is passenger SSN. Okay, Control C, Control V. After them, we have the from That's it. And 2. That's it. After that, we have the price. And that's it. So this time, because we have the loading, it's better to use a loading of true for the initial stage. And after all of these, let's have the set loading of false. Okay, so let's go back, refresh. Okay, let's go to one of them, for example, this, and edit. Okay, now you can see that it is, for example, this, but the time is not true here, but everything is okay, just the time. So we need to handle it here. Again, we can use a trick here in order to showing you better. Let me copy some like here. Okay, so I'm using this console.log for ticket time, but let's import the moment to see it, then continue. So import moment from moment. That's it. Okay, let's refresh and go to the console. So this is it. Now you can see that I want to have the proper format to be shown here inside of this, because this is not true. And if we use this ticket.time with Z, and we saw that this is the true format of the timestamp, it would not be shown here because it has some problems, because we need to follow the structure of it. Let's do this. It is too easy. Let's copy this formatting here. We need to use this format in order to have no problem. So we have the moment of ticket.time with Z and format it to Y, 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 and MM for month, and DD for our days, then a T for timestamp, then HH and MM. This is it. Using this, you will have the true date. Okay? Let's refresh. You can see that no, it is true. So this is the element 13 is the timestamp of the UTC, but here we have the plus 3 and 30, and no, it is true. So this is just for your information, and it is good to see this here. So this is it, and now we have anything. We can reset the form, and if we submit, nothing will happen. So good. So after this use effect, we need to go and check the onSubmit function. So let's go here again. Okay, so here on submit, this time we need to have a put method, because let's go here for updating. This is the method. So we need to go to /tickets/edit/id with put method. That's it. So we use axios.put to your base URL /edit/data. Then router.push to /tickets, router.refresh, and toast the success of ticket edited successfully. And on error, we say error on editing new ticket. So let's test it. First, let's have the errors to see it. So I go here instead of put, or let's say that this is it. Okay, this is not a true URL. Let's go back, refresh. Okay, I'll go here and go to edit. So if I go to submit, I have error on editing new ticket. So good, but let's use Ctrl Z and edit. No, it is true. Let's go back to be sure. Refresh, operations, edit. Let's change this to updated. Submit. Again, we have error. So let's check. Let's go back and refresh to check everything to see what is the error. This is not good, so let's go to edit the first one. Okay, let's close, delete everything in console and network and send submit. Okay, 405, and it says that, let's go here, request failed with 404, and we have problem. What is the problem? So the method is put, and we use this address /edit. Yes, method is not allowed on /edit. Why? Because we need to have /edit / the ID. This is our error. And let's do this. So after that, we say /the ID. Where is ID coming from? From the ticket.id. No, I think it must be true, and we send the data. So let's go back here, go back, and Control F5 to be sure that we don't have any error. Good. Let's go to here, edit. So update. Okay, close and submit. Okay, ticket edited successfully and update. And let's edit the last one. For example, edit this to John Snow Jr. Okay, and 777. Submit. John Snow Jr. with 777. So good. Let's continue. So I think edit is good for now, and let's mark it as done and continue. The next task is creating ticket delete, but you know that it is too easy for us because we created the harder ones like creating and editing. So let's go and continue. So to app tickets, let's have another folder, delete. And you know what, instead of this, let me show you that how you can copy paste. Oh, no, let's continue it better. So inside of edit, I have ID. Inside of this ID, I can have a page dot tsx and rafc. Good. And inside of this page, I want to have, let me show you here on edit. I want to have, let's go back to edit. Okay, for the top, I want to have some structure like this. So we can simply copy this part from edit ticket. Yes, let's do this. So let's go to the edit. And you know what? Let's copy everything and then we delete the extra one. So let's Control R, Control C. And let's go back to delete ID page here and paste. So this is it. Let's minimize our component. So this is a ticket delete page and ticket delete page. Good. Let's start. So let's delete this ticket form. We must have get ticket here, URL, and anything is good. If not, okay, undefined response JSON, good. Also, again, we need use param. So copy paste is a good idea here. We have this continue, this const of ticket delete page. We have params, good. Ticket is await of this, okay. If not ticket, true and not found, so good. And also let's go here to page general class. Okay, so let's go and check the delete. Okay, this is it. And let's delete edit ticket form for note, don't have any error. Good. So here for the back button is /tickets is true, and for the items here we use delete for breadcrumb. That's it. So where are we on delete? Okay. And after that here, let's copy this. So for general title, we use delete tickets. That's good. And inside of this ID, let's create a components. And inside of that, let's add a delete ticket.tsx. This time we don't have any form or something. Oops. That's good. So let's delete everything. RAFCE. Okay, now it is true. And this is my delete ticket. So let's use this delete ticket. So good. Okay, let's close it and let's go to the edit ticket and copy the data from there. We can use this, or let's continue first, and when we need something we can copy that. So let's go to the app, ticket, delete, and this component. So I'm on this component, and because I want to use the ID of the ticket and some of its data, let's pass the ticket to it. So from here we pass the ticket to it. That's it, and we use it here. So we receive this, and this is my props. So interface of props is this ticket with type of ticket. That's it. So let's start. The first thing is this need to be a client component because I want to use loadings. So use client, that's it. And let's have an state for it. So const of loading and set loading equals to use state of false, and the type is boolean. That's it. And also we need to use router, so let's delete this React and let's import router from use router from navigation, and const of router equals to use router. That's it. So after that we need to have a function, so for handling our delete, so const of delete handler function equals to an arrow function, and we will continue, we will complete it later, but for now let's go and work on our front UI. So let's have a loading and custom spinner. This is good. So if you have a loading, you will show the custom spinner. After that, let's have another one, fragment, and let's have a division. And inside this division, let's have an h1. Are you sure? Let me copy this quick. Are you sure you want to delete tickets with this information? And format document, good. So this is it. This is our structure, and that's it. So let's go to the classes. So for this division, let's have some class names like border 2, border red of 200, width of 96, and maximum width of full, and margin X of auto, margin top of 4, padding of 2, and rounded of LG. That's it. And also let's cut all of them and make them dynamic. So let's use curly braces and backticks, paste them again. And for accessing JavaScript, you can simply use $sign curly brace. And if loading is true, you can use a blur of X large, else nothing. That's it. So this is for my main division. And after that, I have this h1. So let's have some class name for it. And let's use margin X of 4 and margin Y of 2 with a text of red of 600. Refresh. Good. So after this h1, I want to have some division. So each one can have a margin of 4, and in each one I can have a label. Don't need HTML4 here. So I can use class name of text of slate of 500. And for the first one, it can be the passenger name Control S. Okay, this is the first one. Then we can have some inputs, and for example, it's type can be text, and this time I use default value because I don't want to change anything. So I can simply use ticket dot passenger name, and also I want to disable this, and I want to have some class name for it. For example, border of 2 and border of gray of 300, width of full, and margin y of 2, and rounded of large, and padding x of 4, and padding y of 1. And so I think it is good. Yes, not bad. This is my passenger name. So after this, we can simply copy paste this division because the structure is the same. So let's have the after passenger name, I want to have the SSNs, and in this input, you know that the type is not, so let's delete this type. I think it is not important for us here. Okay, so its default value is passenger.ssn. Refresh. Okay, and this was the next one. And after passenger SSN, this is it. We just want to show two different buttons. So let's go and create another division, and for it we can use class name of flex again with justify of between and align items of center. And inside of the final division, we can have two different buttons. So the first one is the delete, and let's have a class name for it. For example, bg red of 500, and text white, padding x of 4, and padding y of 2, margin x of 8, and margin y of 2, rounded of LG is good. And also let's use flex because I want to have icons as well as text. So justify of center and items of center. And I think it's good. So inside of it, I have this delete, but you know what? Let's add the onClick for now. So onClick, we can call the delete handler function. That's it. Inside of it, I want to have this delete. So I will put this into a span. And also I want to have an icon. So let's import icon from React icons /md. I want to use the delete. md of outline delete. This is it. So let's use it here. Not bad, but let's have text of 2x large. Better. Also, you know what? Let's have a gap. So here we can have a gap of x of 2 for them. It is better, yes. So this is the button that on click we call the delete handler function. So let's copy this button and let's have another one. For the next button, I want to use the router. So on click of the next button, I will say router.push to where? To /tickets. This is just the back button. So let's have the back, and because this time I don't want to use an icon, I can ignore all of the flex. So let's delete these flex as well, and this. That's it. Also, let's just use this back. I don't want to use this span for now. Let's change the color to orange. So I think it must work, and let's go to delete handler function. So this is it. Let's check the back button. So refresh. Okay, if I go to the, yeah, back is working. So go to details, delete. Back, yeah, back going to delete to details, to the tickets list. So good. So let's go to the delete page, and here now we need to work on this delete handler function, and we need to send a request to backend. Let's copy from the edit because this is same like the edit, and we can simply copy paste that function. So let's copy all of this function and check it here. Okay, so this is it, and I will copy all of them inside of delete handler function, and let's delete this. Okay, so the first thing is we don't have any data here. Okay, so let's try set loading await. Because we have the await, we need async first error, and then, oh sorry, this is not that, this is the function. Okay, so the next thing is Axios, so we need to import Axios from Axios, and also we need to use toast, so let's import toast from React hot toast. Good, and this is it. So let's go set loading to true, await of Axios dot delete to the process.env.public base URL to slash delete slash ticket ID, and we don't have any data. Rotate push to ticket and rotate refresh and success ticket deleted successfully. And here error on deleting ticket. Okay, so let's first test the error. So if I said delete DDD, this is not a true route and it would not work. So let's test it, and you know what, let's go to the home, press Ctrl F5 to be sure that we don't have any error. Let's go to the tickets. Okay, let's go to the, for example, for the Jon Snow Jr., let's go to delete, and if I press back, I will go back here. If I press delete, I have error on deleting tickets. Of course, I have error. Why? Because I have wrong URL here. So let's press Ctrl Z. No, it is true, and I think it must work. Let's go to the home and press Ctrl F5 again. So tickets, delete the for Jon Snow Jr. with ID of 57. We are on slash delete ticket slash delete slash 57 ticket delete. Okay, we want delete ticket with this information, passenger name, Jon Snow Jr. Okay, we have the ID and we are sure that this is it. So if I say delete, ticket deleted successfully and it is deleted. Let's refresh. It seems that yes, it is deleted and we don't have any errors. So good. And this is not the error that we want. This is not a problem for us. So I think the delete is done. Let's close it, and this is it. So let me add another section here quickly. So for now, the application is completed, and it is just time for us to have a little overview and an outro. So let's maximize the page, and you know what, before that, let's Ctrl C, clear, and let's close everything, and let's delete this .next to start from fresh environment and use npm run dev. Using npm run dev, we create this .next and it will start our development process. Good. So let's refresh. Okay, let's go to the tickets. And here I have a lot of tickets here. I can see all of them. I have Debounced searching. For example, if I search, what do we have? For example, update, Jon Snow, new test. Let's test N. You can see that I have Jon Snow and new test, so good. And if I search for O, I just have Jon Snow, and you can see that I have the search param on my URL, so my debounced search is working well. So let's create a new one with this, and passenger name is last test and 999 from AAA to BBB. The price is 5555. Let's submit. Ticket created successfully, and I have the last test here. So good. Let's check it. So I created it. Now I can read it, and also I can edit it. For example, let's go here and change it to, let's say, for example, this, and last test of update. Submit. Okay, you can see that it is 2 p.m. and last test update, and let's delete it. So are you sure you want to delete ticket from this information? If I say back, it won't be deleted, but if I press delete, it would be deleted and ticket deleted successfully. So good. So it seems that all of our functionalities such as search and CRUD and also debounced searching are working through. Okay, so this tutorial was for today, and I hope you enjoy it. So if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and leave some comment for me, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Having a good time, and goodbye.